Atalanta, and this is Everyday Witchcraft. Here on Everyday Witchcraft, we explore everything from witchcraft to the occult to the paranormal and the spiritual. Every week we have special guests that have expertise in the subject matter at hand. Welcome to another episode of Everyday Witchcraft. Tonight's special guest is Reverend Mary Hawk. Reverend Mary is a huge part of the pagan community, both online and in person. She is well known over Facebook and YouTube. She has helped launch Pagan World TV and now has a new station out called Divination TV. She is also the registered agent for Nashville Pagan Pride Day. So no further ado, let's welcome Mary. Welcome to another episode of Everyday Witchcraft. Tonight's special guest is Reverend Mary Hawk, and she is a big name in the pagan community. How are you? And can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, Atalanta, and thank you so much for having me on. How are you doing?
Great. I'm doing really great. I'm so excited to finally have you on here. Just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what it is you do, how long you've been in the community. You're all over the place in the community, so.
Let's see here. I have been in the community since 1998. So, I am a Corellian priestess. I'm one of the coordinators for Nashville Pagan Pride Day. Saturday, October the 5th, if you're going to be in the Nashville area. I was involved with the Pagan World TV project, and I've just launched Divination TV. Yay. You can find us at divinationtv.com. I do Tarot Thursdays at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays on Divination TV, where we do brief 3-card, more or less, tarot readings. So people can drop in on social media, Divination TV on Facebook and YouTube. I do tarot and numerology. I do prison ministry. And I'm very active in the Middle Tennessee pagan community.
You're busy. You're always working on something, and we thank you for that. We thank you for that. And I'm excited about Divination TV. I'm totally excited about that. We need to kind of chat a little bit more about that too, like what I can, what I can put toward that content for that station. But that's a whole nother show. So today we're going to be talking mostly about the pagan community online and the pagan community in person. And like, as you mentioned, you're involved in both worlds. Now, just to kind of give a little brief, because, paganism, witchcraft, magic, those are all terms that are just kind of thrown out there, but they mean something different to everybody. What is your thought on paganism? What would you consider paganism?
I normally describe paganism as an umbrella term for earth-based religions that honor deity as god and goddess, or in some cases just as goddess.
And what about witchcraft? What's witchcraft to you?
Well, witchcraft really can mean two different things. For some people, witchcraft is just the practice of magic. And then we can go down the bunny hole of high magic and low magic. And is witchcraft just low magic? And some people also see witchcraft as the practice of the religion of Wicca. And I am Wiccan, and I do identify as a witch.
Great. And last one, what about magic? What is your description of magic? What does that mean to you?
Magic is taking the energy around us and imprinting it with your will to bring about results.
I love that. I love that. I always like to ask those questions because, everybody's opinion and everybody's take on those three terms is very different. And so as far as like online working, I'd like to kind of start by getting into that because you've got like an online community and then you have the in-person, meetings and community, and you're heavily involved in both of those. So you've had a lot of experience. So you're perfect. I've been wanting to do this episode since I started this show. And so I'm very excited to have you kind of explore both of those things. You said that you've been in the community since, you say 98?
Yes.
What about, I'm assuming that's probably the online or the in-person community. What about the internet? What about online community? How long have you been involved with that?
I actually came to Wicca through the internet.
Oh, wow.
I was a student at TSU, Tennessee State University. I do not remember what I was in the computer lab searching for, but I came across a website on Wicca. And I had already left Christianity, decided that was just not for me anymore. And I read this website and took down the names of some books. And that Friday, when I got paid, I went shopping.
That's amazing. So your introduction to witchcraft online was actually an amazing experience,
It really
and it opens
was.
you up. I think that the internet has, obviously, which we're going to be talking about, the good, the bad, the ugly, it has a little bit of everything. But I think it really exploded, witchcraft because it joined everyone together. Which is like, what do you think are the benefits, the best things that come out of online?
Well, the best things that come out of online is that it is easy to find good information, um, and not so good information, but it is easy to find information. It is easy to find a community if you are someplace where there are no other like-minded individuals near you. You can find online communities. It is much easier to find books now
Mhm.
by ordering them online. If you, although I will stop and plug and say, if you have um, a cult or mystical shop near you, go support them.
Mhm.
On the other hand, if you don't, it is great to be able to order books online.
And get that information. I think it's also
Yes.
great because, some people can't necessarily, due to whatever reason, maybe ill health, or they can't leave their home. And so
And
they
that's
don't get that opportunity to meet, with people. Or like you said, maybe they don't live in an area, or maybe they're still in the broom closet because, it does provide, a method or a way for people who can't leave the house. And I think that's beautiful.
mhm.
It does worry me though sometimes because I think that, people can spend a lot of time on the internet and looking through, and but they're not practicing. They're just kind of search. With your experience, what do you use the most? Because like this is not just online, not just websites, but we're talking social media, Facebook, um, you know, Instagram, TikTok. What do you think about those? And what's your favorite platform? I mean, YouTube. I know that you're involved with YouTube a lot. What would be your favorite platform?
I use Facebook a lot. I use Facebook, YouTube, and Pagan.world the most. I do post things on Instagram. And I said this publicly before, if you want to get in touch with me, for heaven's sakes, do it over Facebook, because I get the weirdest messages on Instagram and I really don't pay attention to them.
I know, me too. I quit using my messenger on Facebook. And I still have people that contact me through Messenger, because I'll go on there maybe once a week just to see. But I tell everyone, text me or call me, because I just really don't check those messages anymore. I get so many weird things, and just sifting through it, and it's just so much. So I'm trying to stay like blocking time for social media rather than do it throughout the day, because it's addictive. It's like I don't even watch television because it's addictive. I will watch it, especially when I don't feel good, but then I'm like binge watching, so I stay off of television. But I think social media is great. But I'm one of those people. I have an addictive personality, so I will sit on there for hours. I've learned to block time out. Let's talk about festivals real quick, and then we'll go back to the internet. Tell me what your experience is as far as not just festivals, but meeting in person. When did you first, were you a member of a coven? How did you find your community in person? Did you use the internet to do that as well?
I did. And I first really started meeting people in person when I lived in New England. And I just went to a meetup in a bookstore that was announced on a Yahoo group back when we did everything over Yahoo groups.
Hmm. That's fun. Yeah, I love going to like in-person meetups and stuff. How did you get involved in festivals?
Okay. I did not really. I did Pagan Pride Days when I lived in New England. Um, I started going to other festivals. I had moved back to Nashville and joined a coven with people that I had met through more Yahoo meetup groups or Yahoo groups. And we had gone to some festivals together. And I started going to the Pagan Unity Festival regularly. So
I
that's
love that.
one I never miss if I can help it.
How long have you been going to that festival? Because it's been around for a while.
I want to say I have been going to the Pagan Unity Festival since about 2010.
Wow. Yeah, I love that festival. I don't miss it.
I do too.
Um, I don't even remember how I came across it. I honestly don't. But I do remember the first time I was there, and it was just as soon as I got there, I mean, immediately it was you're part of the family, you know, and
Yes.
honestly, part of the family. I mean, that's, they take care of you, they embrace you. And this year, I'm bringing my stepmother to the festival, and she's so excited. She's never been to anything like
That's
that. And
awesome.
yeah, so I'm excited, and I'm going to introduce her a little bit to what I do, and what we do as a community. And I think that, and we talked about it last year, and she said, well, I would love to go to. I said, well, next year you can go. And so when this is the time of year, and I said, you're going, and she's super excited. So I can't wait to introduce her.
Awesome.
I know, yeah, that this community, that the Puff community, is a perfect place for somebody who doesn't know about anything pagan to get
Right.
introduced to it. it's a beautiful place. Nobody minds questions and stuff like that, which is another benefit, I think, to getting involved in festivals and things. What do you think the biggest difference is between the online and the in-person? Do you think there is a huge difference? Do you think it's kind of similar, or do you think it's kind of two different situations completely?
Um, it really is two different situations completely. Uh, there is nothing like building relationships in person. There really isn't. And seeing people face to face. It is very easy for someone to be very deceitful online. You really do not know who is behind the keyboard.
That's true. You can be anything you want online. And there's a
Yes.
lot of that out there. It's very scary. What do you
I
do
know.
to kind of protect yourself? Because I know you have this balance between online and in person. What do you do to kind of protect yourself from misinformation or misrepresentation?
Uh, well, as far as people misrepresenting who they are, frankly, I take you with a grain of salt unless I've met you in person at this point, or you're vouched for by somebody I know.
Yeah, that's a good practice. That's a really good practice. You know, when you're how do you use the social media or just the online presence to your benefit? I mean, do I kind of use it for keeping in touch with family and friends, but I also use it as an out, like a way to, advertise for different things or say where I'm going to be. What are your feels on that? I mean, do you put personal information up on there? Does it just depend? I keep my profile private,
Mm-hmm.
that way it's just not random. I mean, people still get through, but it's not, not random. And then I have my business page. Do you separate everything? Do your groups that you run? How do you balance all of that out?
Well, to be honest, it's not that hard to find me because I am the registered agent for Nashville Pagan Pride Day Incorporated. So if you want to find me, you can. I mean, I use social media to stay in touch with family and friends. I I have and I started out just using it that way, and I've never been one to post super stuff. Oh my God, me and my husband had a disagreement before he went to work today. I mean, no, I've never been one to put that on social media. I do run a bunch of pagan groups, or I'm admin on them now. And of course, I've been doing videos for a couple of years now and using social media to get those out. So I'm using it both personally and professionally at this point.
How do you find time to do that? I I just doesn't feel like I never have time to keep up with it. I mean, I'll go in phases, and I'll be like, okay, I got this every day. I'm checking it, and then like my last couple of weeks, I'm prepping for going on the road. I've been on the road for a week, and then I go on for 2 weeks tomorrow, and that I struggle with that. I struggle with trying to have that balance with everything. I guess you just have to, and I'm a multitasker, but for some reason, I struggle. You've got to be consistent, I think, with if you're going to be on social media, you've got to be consistent with it. And that is where I kind of like I said, I go through phases. I
Here's the
try not,
secret. You can schedule posts
I don't know
ahead
how to
of
do
time.
that. Oh my gosh, you've got to teach me how to do. That's amazing.
So,
So you can do
yes,
all your posts at once and then schedule them to go out.
yes.
All right, we're gonna have to have a course. Yeah,
Because
I
I
just
just,
don't, it amazes me. So yeah, we'll have to have a crash course, in that. So
yes.
as far as the two separate communities, the online, the in-person, what do you think the biggest difference is between the two? I mean, I know, obviously one's in person, you get to see who they are in person, one's online, but what do you think is the biggest difference? Because I've noticed that sometimes it's like the people online are talking about one topic, or one content, one interest, and then the people in person are talking about something completely different. um what do you think your the biggest difference is between the two?
Well, in my case, they are almost two separate communities because my online community, especially the people I interact with regularly, is spread out across the world.
Right.
And like there are people I have met briefly or we connected online and we've never met face to face. So that is our connection. That is a much larger community for me. And so sometimes the topics discussed there are broader because they are affecting more people or there are more topics under discussion. My local community is the people who live realistically within about an hour of where I live
Do
because
you
that's
feel
about as
connected to one more than the other, or is it just like two separate?
I feel like it's two separate communities I belong to. I feel connected to both.
Good. What about your TV experience? What got you into that? Getting into running Pagan World TV, and now you've got Divination TV. I think that's amazing because I think that is a great um, outlet, a great platform to get correct information to the public. Um, how did you
It
get started
is.
with that?
Well, I was helping Ed Hubbard with the Pagan World project, and he came back from the National Association of Broadcasters um, show where he had gone actually to try and sell something he was working on and said, guess what? We're doing a Roku channel, Pagan World TV.
That is so
So
neat.
that's how I got involved with that. And we that was not working for us anymore. And so now I am doing Divination TV, which is going to be on my website and on YouTube and Facebook for the time being. I'll be looking to move back on Roku eventually. So, my concept here is I'm going to be focusing more on divination. There will be some about magic on it, but divination is one of my strong interests. So I'm looking for people to do shows about divination. I'll be gathering material. The next show I'm going to launch is Divination Today, where I'll be interviewing people like yourself who regularly practice different forms of divination and who have books, cards. I know you sell bone kits
Mhm.
to come on and talk about your products. We are getting set up to offer reader services through the site. I'm working on getting that live, and I'm hoping we'll be there within the next 2 weeks. And so we can be a one-stop shop when people are looking to get a reading done.
Did you say that the
And we'll
the
also,
station's already out, or is it going to be launched soon?
oh, I am running Tarot Thursday over it, and we're running a couple of other shows. Reverend Don Lewis is doing his noonday show over it, and we will be getting the web link up within the next few days, where we will be running YouTube on it, and we'll also be running content through Stream TV on it.
Wow.
So a lot of work on the website, and a shout out to Temple of the Starry Sky, my wonderful webmaster.
How would people submit content to you if they wanted to have something aired on that station?
You can reach me at divinationtv1@gmail.com.
Perfect. Are there like what exactly are you looking for? Is it just about divination? You mentioned a little bit of witchcraft too, but it needs to be primarily divination, correct?
Divination or magic is really what I'm looking for. But if you've got an idea, reach out, pitch it to me, and we can talk.
I'm still working on mine. I wanna come up with something different. So yeah, you'll be hearing by Puff. I should have something put together, you know. But
Excellent.
okay, so let's talk about the explosion of witchcraft in the last few years. I mean, with the start of the internet, of course, it kind of went crazy, and then it sort of settled out a little bit. But in the last few years, it's kind of gotten just out there. Do you think that COVID had something to do with that, or do you think it was just time for it to go crazy?
COVID may have been one of the drivers, but it's time. We are moving out of the age of Pisces and into the age of Aquarius. So it's going to be a magical age, awakening to their psychic powers. I had an interesting conversation with a cashier who noticed my pentacle, said, "Oh, I've got a pentacle tattoo," and showed it to me. And I said, "So are you Wiccan?" She said, "No, but I've been having these experiences," and just starts describing psychic experiences. And my friend said, "If I got this tattooed, it might help." And she was just opening up as a psychic in her teens and didn't know what was going on.
Wow. And that's kind of neat that she noticed that with you, and it's kind of like you went, the universe put you in her path, so maybe she could talk to you a little bit. I have found that I've moved a lot in my life, and it seems like everywhere that I go, I don't even have to be wearing the pentacle. People will come up and like random and say, "Hey, sister." I don't know what it is. And it's the same thing with me. It's just like there's that energy that's given off
Mhm.
of somebody who's spiritual or practicing. And you're right. Like people just kind of open up, everybody is
Yes,
curious. Everybody's kind of, everybody's got a little bit of witchy in them. Um, you know,
yes.
and I think that, yeah, I just think it's time. I think it's
But especially with the what are we calling them? The Zennials, the people in their 20s and younger.
Mhm.
A larger number of them seem to be born open, with their psychic abilities open.
Do you think that that is a like a universal thing? Because I've been doing
I
a
do.
lot. Yeah, I do too. I think that it's like the generation, they say that there's like a different waves of people being reborn. And
Hmm.
this last wave that's out, so is supposed to be the ones that like really carry everybody. I know my grandson has the most amazing abilities and has since he was tiny. And it just seems like, yeah, it seems like it's everybody. It's just being born to kind of maybe lead us where we need to go.
Yeah, one thing I've really enjoyed doing, and we'll be starting back up with Ostara, is doing online rituals with Reverend Don Lewis. So we'll be back to doing the Sabbath rituals with Ostara or Yvonne if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. And the first time I heard about doing online ritual, I was iffy. I'm like, teach a class online? Sure. Have a meet and greet online? Sure. But ritual? But yes, you can do online ritual. It works. You raise energy.
When you cast your circle, I do online ritual with my coven. It is very inclusive. Not just, well, we used to have somebody that was from Spain. We don't have her anymore. But it's, right now in the United States, but we do online ritual, and it is a little iffy at first because you're kind of questionable. Can we do that? Can we raise that energy? But yeah, you absolutely can. In the beginning, it takes a little bit of practice because it's not in person. You can't, but energy is, goes everywhere. So when you're casting your circle online, do you cast at, everyone, or does each individual cast their own? What is your advice or experience you would give to somebody that wants to do an online ritual?
Uh, we generally use a formula about casting the individual circles as well as the giant circle to encompass us all right now, and those who will view later because they are recorded and uploaded to YouTube.
That's interesting. I didn't think about putting them up on YouTube, because
Yeah,
then everybody can kind of.
these are public rituals.
Right.
So
And
they're meant to be accessible to anyone. We started it during COVID.
oh wow, okay. See, COVID brought people together. So if somebody wanted to, attend one of your online rituals, how would they be able to find the information for that?
We will be making the announcements on Facebook, on Divination TV, and Corellian TV.
Okay. Okay, great. What else would you want to say to, let's say, the new witch that's coming out, maybe coming out to explore their craft? What kind of advice would you give them as far as being online or being in person? Because both, even you could even go to a personal meeting or group gathering and have experiences that are, not so good. So what would your advice
One,
be?
trust your gut. Two, no group has a monopoly on truth. Now, a lot of groups do have their ceremonies may be oath bound, and that is valid. But if they are telling you that they are going to teach you something that they and only they know, I would just keep moving right along because I'm quite sure the gods have revealed it to somebody else. If you feel creepy, whether you're dealing with someone online or someone in person, trust your guts. When you are looking up information, verify, verify, verify. Like I said, any information you find, you ought to be able to find it in other sources.
I
For
think that's
God's
the
sake,
best
do not
advice.
drink belladonna tea.
I was talking to Julie from Practical Magic Alabama, and
Yes.
we were just kind of talking about like TikTok and Facebook and Instagram. She has this story, and it's funny because it got prevented. But I guess somebody came into her shop and asked for certain ingredients, and she was like, what are you making? And they were going to make a tea and drink it. I forgot the ingredients now, but it had all kinds of stuff in it that would have really hurt this person. They got it from TikTok. And Julie was like, please, please, please don't follow just because it's on. You can have someone that has just thousands of followers and they're still giving misinformation, and you just have to be so careful with that. But that's the part about meeting somebody in person, though, and actually being able to see, is this person real? Is this person,
When it
behind the
comes
computer?
to herbalism,
Mhm.
there are certifications you can get.
That's
I
excellent.
would
Yeah.
I would look for people who have certifications and then look up the certification online.
Mhm.
If it's a course of study, you can go look it up. I mean, it's like you heard me mention that I was at Tennessee State University. You can go find it. If someone was applying for a job and said they graduated from a particular school, you would probably check that degree.
They
So,
should go to
yes,
school.
aromatherapy and herbalism can be certified.
Yeah, because that's a,
And
a touchy a touchy category of everything. You can get really hurt. That's why when people ask me about, like, I have an apothecary, I love it, I use it. But if somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, I have this, and this," I am real careful about saying, "Look, I have not studied it like I'm not certified in any of it. I have experience with it, a lot of experience with it. I know what I've used and what works for me, and most of the time, I've gotten it from someone else who is practiced in that area, and seasoned in that area, and I know that they're qualified to give me that advice. But yeah, it's just you've got to be real careful with that. What about protection? You know, I was listening to a podcast about like protection when you're going online if you're a content creator, and some people don't think about that because you're not in person, but I would think that you would need to be more protected with online than you would in person, because if you have a big following and then you have people finding you, the community can be scary at times. And unfortunately, there are people out there that just want to cause chaos. But what are your feelings about that? About like doing protection work before you get online versus like whenever you go to somewhere in person? People are out there, they just want to attack sometimes.
hmm, yes, there are people who will attack you. I left high school behind.
Yeah, I think the more I think it's I don't think that it's like people get attacked more online. I think it's just the fact that you're in front of so many people, it does give opportunity, to have
And
that
if you
happen.
want to look through our Facebook or YouTube page, Divination TV or Corellian TV, you can see my interview with the fundamentalist who attacked a member of my tradition. That was a fun one.
What happened? You've got to give us a little hint. What happened in it?
Well, well, I have him on record stating that teachers should only be Christians.
Hmm. And that's on your page. You're going to make me go look at it now. Oh,
Yes, you can find it on my personal page. You can find it on Divination TV. You can find it on Corellian TV.
I'm going to find it. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to find it.
Please do. Anyway, I'm not a stranger to being attacked, and this person had to be responded to. Most of the time, for personal attacks, I honestly do not respond anymore.
Yeah. I think the responding just gives it the energy that they're wanting to get in the first place.
Right.
You
The
gotta take
funny,
that.
I will mention this person was posting a group picture of several members of the Corellian tradition, stating that one of them was a school teacher who was coming, a Satanist coming for the souls of your children. And I was asked to go and make the video giving our high priesthood's response. And to be a good journalist, I emailed him and asked him if he wanted to give me a statement to read, and he asked to come on. So I let him come on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he just randomly find you, or how did that even
He
happen?
was in a Facebook group with the person who stated that they are a teacher and they want religion completely out of the school.
Hmm.
And this what picture was on the profile, on their profile.
What do you think the biggest challenges are as far as working with groups online or working with groups in person? Like what are your biggest challenges with each of those?
With pagan groups,
Hmm.
well, we have to acknowledge, first of all, that in general, working with a pagan group is very similar to herding cats.
Herding cats in a shower.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think it matters one way or the other much, other than when you have a physical group, you can offer food and alcohol and get all the cats in one room.
Yeah, I guess you can't do that online. What do you think the biggest benefits are of each or online versus in person?
Uh, well, one thing about an online group is it is sometimes easier to gather opinions on something because while people may be on different time zones, you can post a statement. What does everyone think about this? And get responses.
Hmm. You get a bigger outlook from the world when you're online. And
Then,
it's kind of neat too because you can see, what other cultures and stuff like that like consider witchcraft or paganism or magic, those three terms that I asked in the beginning of the show, you know, because it's different all over the world. It's different. Like I said, I used to have a girl in our coven from Spain, and they practice quite differently out there. So it was kind of neat having her in the group, and she could sort of teach us a little bit, about what they practice out there. And I love also like online, the big court like workshops and courses and stuff like that, where you have some live and some recorded. I don't know if my favorite is live or favorite is recorded because I like both of them. I like to be part of the big expo and workshops that we have online. You get thousands of people together. I'm taking a course right now, and there's thousands of people in that Zoom, and you can feel the energy. What are your thoughts about that? Like online classes, online workshops, and
I
everybody
think
getting
they're
together.
great.
Hmm.
They really are because, and that is one huge plus to online paganism, is just the ability to pull together, a huge class or seminar
Get everybody in.
where, you just wouldn't be able to get that many people together physically.
I think it's also really helped, the community learn, like everybody teaches everybody else. Like I said, around the world they practice a little bit differently. And it gives us, even I'm sure in the Wiccan community, um, you know, everybody's different from all the parts of the world. And so it gives you an opportunity to experience that, especially because now we have, the video and stuff like that. You can literally be a part of it on the other side of the world. A little bit. I know you said that you've been doing festivals for quite a long time. You're involved in the Pagan Pride. What are I would like to know, like, the biggest challenges that you have with that? Because you are Pagan Pride. So what do you kind of find as your biggest challenge, getting community together? Because that's also another hard thing to do, is get people dedicated to one space.
Our biggest challenge is always rounding up enough volunteers. Hint, hint, if you're in the Nashville area, volunteer for Pagan Pride Day, October 5th.
Yeah, I'm so excited about that. When do people need to get their information to you, like with sign up process and stuff like that?
You can contact us at Nashville Pagan Pride Day at gmail.com. Shoot us an email and say, hey, I'm interested in helping with Pagan Pride Day, and we need people to help us set up, take down, man the booth. We need criers during the day to go around and say, at the top of the hour, this entertainer, these presenters. Need people to go count heads and workshops.
A little bit of everything.
Yes.
Well, great. Is there anything else that you would like to share with everyone as far as advice on festivals, online groups, social media, any of those things?
Don't let fear keep you from getting connected, is the biggest thing. Don't be too shy to go to a festival. Don't say, well, I don't know anybody. I don't want to go by myself. You will know people by the end of the day.
Probably in
I
the first
promise
15
you,
minutes.
you will never meet a friendlier group than a bunch of pagans.
I agree. You'll be embraced with true wholeheart love if you go, and I don't think there's anything like really being there in person and just feeling that, that love and that sense of
Yes,
community. And you can find that online, but there's something different about being there in person.
it is great to be there on person. And if you can't be there in person, look for community online.
Mhm.
And, be careful, be aware that you can't take anything at face value. But, if you were hanging out with golfers online, you wouldn't take it at face value either. So,
True. And one more time, please, let everyone know how they can get in touch with you through your different things like the Divination TV, the Pagan Pride Day. Best way to contact you personally. I know you do tarot. What you offer with that.
okay. Well, we are getting set up to offer tarot readings through Divination TV. So look for that at divinationtv.com. If you are interested in getting content up on Divination TV, you can reach me at divinationtv 1@gmail.com. If you're interested in volunteering at Pagan Pride Day, that's Pagan Pride Day, or Nashville Pagan Pride Day at gmail.com. We also have vendor slots available still, and you can find us at Nashville Pagan Pride Day.net. And if you get the email addresses messed up, as long as it says Mary, I'll get it. I read all these emails.
I love that. I love that you're so involved with everything. You know, you've taught a lot of people, and I think you've touched a lot of people that you probably don't even realize that you've done. I know you've touched me, and I love having you in my life, and I'm so glad I finally got you on here. I have been wanting to do this show for a while, and I just couldn't think of anybody else that would be perfect for this, you know. So thank you for all that you do, and thank you for coming on here, and I can't wait to see you in just a few weeks.
Yes. Well, thanks for having me, Annalena, and I can't wait to see you too.
Okay, well, blessed be.
Blessed be.
That concludes another episode of Everyday Witchcraft. I want to thank all of you for tuning in, and a very special thanks goes to Reverend Mary Hawk. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Blessed be.